Good day. How are you? Amazing. So, being sometimes from the north, I like to say I could be a little bit edgy, and sometimes I could over ask questions. People tend to just be genuinely helpful, but I'm always like, why are you so helpful? And I don't mean to be that way. I just don't. And it's not that I don't trust everyone, which I don't. It's just who I am, my nature. So, anyways, recently I was shopping on Timu. Yeah, I said it. Do something about it. Say something. Say something. Anywho, but I was getting different things. And I saw this cute item that I ordered and it finally came. And I was going to ship it out to someone I love very much because I know they would enjoy this item. It's not like something that they need, but it's definitely something that they'll love. And I was looking for the post office and I was running around, and in Florida, some of the post office locations are mixed with other businesses. So I know like in New York, you go to the post office and specifically a post office. But in Florida, it's a mixture of businesses, which is amazing because sometimes you are a business owner and you need the connection, or you don't, but it's helpful. And it also drives your UPT traffic. And if you don't know what UPT is, it's units per transaction traffic. So if someone's coming in to your business, maybe they'll pick up something. So anyway, I was looking for a post office, and I found this post office. It's right off of Vine, next to the Ross in Kissimmee, and it was pretty awesome because at first I thought it was like a store for different things that you would buy, like a gift store or souvenir store. But there was a gentleman at the counter, and he let me know it was a post office, and I walked in, and he was so helpful. But the first thing I did was I was trying to mail a box, and he was like, "Oh, this is a big box. You sure you don't want to change your box?" And I'm looking at him like, "What are you talking about? I just want to mail this out." And I had to take a second because I was like, wait a second, he's being so helpful. And what it was going to cost for me to mail my box, he was able to explain, hey, you don't need to do it this way. Here's another way of doing it. And his name was Ahmed. Ahmed, I gotta give you props because you saw right through my tough exterior. And I think that's because me and you are both from New York. And I think that's where that came from. But it was so awesome. And he saved me so much money. Oh my goodness. And so I have to say something. If you need to go to the post office, you can go wherever you want. But for now on, I'm only going to see Ahmed. If I got to mail anything, I will make the extra turn in my road. Even if it's out of my traffic, out of my journey, I will go there. You're so amazing. I just want to make sure you get this shout out. People, if you need to know something, if you want value, if you want to be treated like a human, if you want somebody who's just genuinely kind, also will take care of your stuff with care, because the way he packaged my stuff helped me send out my stuff, and then just overall well-being of service, customer service, you need to see Ahmed, and you need to go to the postal office right off of Vine, right next to the Ross. You will have an amazing time because he will give you the service that you deserve. But he also needs to, next time I see you, I'm going to bring you coffee. All right, everyone, stay tuned. When I was a kid, my mom used to take me to this store called Alphabets, and it was in the Lower East Side of Manhattan on Avenue A. And I remember when she would say, we're going to Alphabets, I would run because that was like the best time. We would go to Alphabets. First, we probably would be at Tompkins Square Park playing in there for hours. But then we would go to Alphabets. And in Alphabets, you would look around. It had so much variety, but it was so much fun. It wasn't like a regular store. We didn't go there because we needed something. We went there because we actually wanted to just enjoy a moment shopping or doing something. And we didn't have a lot of money. So the fact that she took us was amazing. And she would get us like a little knickknack. Afterwards, she would take us next door to the newsstand and we would get a drink called an egg cream. But they would just make a seltzer, milk, egg cream. It was so delicious. And that's like a very good childhood memory I have with my mom. And it was always an incredible experience. Recently, I was at the Loop with my children, and we went into a store, and the nostalgia of the store, the funniest thing is the store is upbeat, bright, amazing, trending. But when I walked in, the feeling of nostalgia that I had of that experience, my mom hanging out with her and just, tagging along her adventure, I felt that. And I felt like, oh my goodness, I'm the mom of my kids, and this is our adventure, which felt amazing, which is kind of obvious, but it just felt amazing. This store was Five Below. I had so much fun in this store. I was just looking around, doing different things, checking out different things. So much eye candy, so much to look at. And, the funniest thing is I needed some things. I needed a jump rope. And I know, don't judge, but I needed a jump rope. But I also needed speakers. And my son, I wanted to get him speakers for the car, like headphones. And they had everything. They really did. And they had games and sports and makeup and everything you can imagine. But super fun, unique, different pops of color, right on trend for the holiday, for the season. Like everything was just so amazing and clean and easily organized. And even though everything has different colors, it's bright, it's exciting, it really, really was just well done. The marketing in each section. What I also liked was the way things were organized, like the pet section, the sports section. These things really speak to me because I'm a person that likes to always have things departmentalized or categorized so I can organize myself. And as I walked through, it had a flow of, this is that. Yeah, that seems like this should go here. It felt really great, the merchandising. So whoever the merchandising manager is there, kudos. So we went through the whole entire space and I got everything I needed. And then finally, I got to the checkout. And of course, it's always super easy to check out there. And there was an amazing sales girl. She was so awesome. And she helped me with my cash because I was about to have a cash blunder where I didn't know where to put what. And she was awesome. So just I wanted to give an overall shout out to that Five Below at the Loop. What an amazing experience. And I have one more I want to talk about my journey. But thanks so much and thanks for listening. I don't know how most of you establish who's your guy, like your barber, your nail tech, your hair salon, but I have a thing that I do. Sometimes it's word of mouth, but when I tend to like the way someone does something for me, even down to what I eat or how I'm treated, I'm always going to serve that best. Recently, I got my nails done by a local technician and she's starting out and I gave her a chance and she did an amazing job. She did such an amazing job that everywhere I went, everybody asked me about my nails. Where did you get your nails? Oh my God, your nails are amazing. And I was blown away. I was like, wow, I know it's amazing. And I know. So I went to see her recently and I had a vision of what I wanted. And I asked her about it and she said the vision's called Baby Boomers. But as I was sitting there with her and I have an injured finger, she was like, you know what? We got to take care of your finger. And so that nail looks different than the other nails. But in reality, I have never been to a technician who truly cares about every cuticle, every little piece of dry skin. Make sure that your hands feel soft, your skin feels soft, your moral is okay. And I just want to take this moment to give a big shout out to Nails by Venny. Venicia is the technician and she is phenomenal. Her prices are not beatable. You cannot beat her prices. You cannot beat her style. And she does it in the privacy of her own space. When you're there, you feel like family. And I gotta say, thank you so much. You will be my vendor of choice. And anytime I have any function going on, I will call upon you. Just want to give a kudos to Nails by Venny. You can find her on Instagram. Bye now. Today I want to discuss a topic of perspective in business. And I'm going to use just an example of something that I experienced recently to kind of give the insight of what I'm talking about. So recently, my son and I were touring different schools and we went to this school and I was blown away. And my son made a comment, and the comment he made was, Mom, we were big fish in a small pond here. We're small fish in this big ocean. And when he said that, I said, oh my God, that's exactly the feeling that I'm feeling. But more than that, I thought about in business, this happens a lot. In this business, or in businesses in general, you tend to sometimes become, let's say, the beacon of truth in that section. But once you step out, you realize, whoa, there's a whole other world out there. And I want to shed light on this because recently, I'm going to just go ahead and plug away. Recently, my podcast got picked up by iHeartRadio. And you know I'm a Spotify girl, but listen, if you can hear my voice, then I'm happy to keep raising the sounds of what I need to tell you guys about. But so when I saw it, I said, wow, that's so interesting. But then I was looking over my analytics of my regular podcast and how it's being served. And I realized, wow, I'm in 26 countries. Think about that for one moment. Right now, I currently reside in Florida. This is one state out of 50 in one country. And I'm being heard in 26 countries. That right there blew my mind because I'll tell you what, I don't always look at my analytics for different reasons. I always look at my demographics because I want to serve who's hearing and what they're wanting. But seeing that made me feel amazing. And then I saw that I had an affiliate that might pop up through another sponsorship. And I'm always looking for those type of things. Sometimes we set ourselves small, like we keep our head down. We're not really focused. We're just looking at the road. We're not looking around. And we need to realize that sometimes we can be the owner in the moment, but we can always expand. The messages I send tend to be fun-loving, business-yielded, things that I need you to know about, things coming up, and just shedding light on different areas and topics that are always in the conversation world. And I always try to make sure I meet my demographic, but when I have other people listening, I want to make sure I'm open and listening to what they need to, because a lot of you reach out, ask questions. Sometimes you'll hear me talk about something, you're like, why is she talking about that? Somebody asked, like, hey, could you speak about this? And I bring it up. And, you know, when they hear it come up, they give me a, hey, you spoke about it. I'm so excited. So I love that. Okay. So I really just want to open this a little bit. So let me give you an example. And I know I said this many times, so I'm just going to own this moment if I know I said this many times. Let's say you go to school, okay? You study and you become a lawyer, okay? And now you're a lawyer in, let's say, New Jersey, okay? So you're a lawyer in New Jersey. You're licensed to practice law in New Jersey, but you can't practice in California. And you can't practice in Florida because you're licensed in New Jersey. And let's say while you're licensed in New Jersey, your focus is patent law. That's what you do, patent law. Maybe you do immigration. Maybe you do litigation, whatever it is, okay? But that's what you're licensed to do. So here you are, a patent lawyer, specialized in New Jersey, and now you move to California, and now maybe you want to do litigation. You got to change gears. You're going to have to maybe take an extra class or update your certification or look at your licenses. Definitely take another exam with the state and recertify. At the end of the day, you're a lawyer, but you're still a person. Let's drive this home. You are a person. Doesn't matter what your job title is. You are in control of your destination. Let's own that. Let's own that moment, because I was in New York, I was in New Jersey, I was in Pennsylvania, I was in Florida, but right now I'm all over the world. And why do I mention this? I mention this because when I go somewhere, people say, like, what do you do? What do you do? Like, what do you do? What are your businesses? And I always get this question, like, what are you doing? Like right now, here and now, in front of you, I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing right now. This is what I'm doing. Some people like to say gig, right? This is what I'm doing. Right now, I am here. I am your consultant. I'm running your payroll. We're looking at what's going on. Why are you losing money here? What's the profit? Oh, you're paying too much overtime. Let's look at the hours. Let's look at the schedule. Let's look at your business model, right? Right then and there, I'm your payroll administrator. But sometimes I take on a client and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, let's look at your benefits. What's going on here? Okay, these are the benefits that you want to give to your employees, but then again, it's going to cost you more. Let's look at what's more feasible for your business. I'm your benefits administrator. Then I walk away and I come back and I'm coaching you. This is another job. How are you today? Okay, let's look at what's going on. All right, you want this goal. Sorry, I have a cough. You want this goal. How are we going to attain this goal? Let's look at what you want and the steps it needs to get there. The steps it needs. The step is it. It is the goal. How are we going to get there? Okay, so you want this. Let's go backwards. And then I take you on that journey of going backwards, pushing you forward. And then you tell me, hey, guess what? I made that goal in less time. Right? What was that? Was I a payroll person? Was I a human resource person? Was I a coach? Here I am in a classroom and I'm teaching students. Am I a teacher? Here I am on a school level and I'm working with admins and students. Am I a dean? Here I am working with businesses, helping them navigate and expand. Here I am working with your I am an entrepreneur. I am a business leader. However, that is not the cup of tea of everyone. Not everyone has a cup of tea where they can be like, today I want Earl Grey, tomorrow I want matcha. Some people just want the matcha every single day, and I get that, totally. That's why I like to podcast and expand different things that I do. I like to discuss many things. I like to be a part of many topics. I like to network and open up different perspectives. If someone needs something, they can always count on me. Hey, listen, I'm having an event. I need your expertise. That's my subject matter expertise. Let me dive in. What exactly do you need? Okay, you need a grant. All right, let's go. That is who I am. I've always been that way. I have people come up to me and say, I have an immigration issue. I need an advocate. I'll be your advocate. I'm not a lawyer. Let me help you, guide you, take this path, do that, get this, and now let's follow through. Okay? That's what I do. It's my passion. It's my passion. Now, on the same side, on the same line, the same journey, am I in school doing my doctorate? Sure. Am I doing other masters? Yeah, possibly. Am I constantly evolving? Sure. I'm a human. Sometimes I have a job where I physically clock in. Those are the hardest ones for me because when I have to physically clock in, that means all my other things that I want to work on is on other times. I like to be flexible, but sometimes I say, you know what? The better good is being served here. This is community work. Let's do it. And I'll do it. You know, and sometimes I take the hit. Sometimes I'm like, well, I usually make this much money, but if I do this, I'll make less. But who will I serve? All right, but let me do the less. We'll be okay. Normally, we're okay. So I like to just do this and explain this in this way for people because people always say to me, what do you do? I'm an entrepreneur. That's what I do. And I really don't worry about a lot of things. I worry, my kids okay? Everyone has good health? Got benefits? Bills paid? Let's keep it moving. Let's keep this show on the road, right? I could drive people crazy too. I have that energy. So why am I telling you this, right? So my sons, when I talk to them, they have the big idea. One of the people that mentored me in my life and is an amazing human, if there's something I want to say, I want to drive it home to a mentor, because if they brought it up to me, then I need to bring it to you. And one of my number one mentors in my life was Miss Carmen Alvarez. She was the vice president of special education for the United Federation of Teachers, and her best friend was Evelyn De Jesus, and she is the vice president for AFT. If I'm mistaken, Evelyn, don't kill me. Okay, but I'm gonna tell you something. Evelyn gave me a piece of advice once, and she wasn't my direct boss. She wasn't my direct supervisor. She was my boss's best gal. Feel me? And so for me, I know, like, if she said something, that was it. If she said, this is the practice, this is the policy, that was it. If it was going to affect 280,000 teachers, this is it. So I'm ready to listen. I'm on board. Like, okay, what do you need me to do? I'm here. Let's go. Shoelaces tied, ready to run. What is it? But she would always say things, and I'm listening to her. And I remember even in our first encounter where I could jokingly say, I told her husband this was like the funniest thing. I said, when I grow up, I want to be her. Like, she was incredible, if I tell you. But she said to me, Fanny, don't look at the forest for the tree. You'll find trees if you just look at the whole forest. And I was like, what? Don't worry right now about this one thing. Look at everything. What is the big picture? Let's figure out that scope and make it happen. And I was like, oh my God. I felt brain stems being built in my brain. And I ran to my boss. I was like, oh my God. And she was like, remember, let's look at the full scope. I went, okay. That changed my mind. In that moment in my life, where here was my pivot, and I'm working on this, I pivoted. Like, wait, what is the big picture? What is the growth mindset, the global impact? What is it? Right? It's the lesson. It's the message. That blew me away. So I took that piece of advice, and I do that with my children. I do that with people I meet. When I talk to someone and I'm hearing what their goal is, I want to be a veterinarian. Oh, you want to be a veterinarian? What is the big picture? How do we tie that into your scope? Let's look at your goals. How we focused our journey. Is our journey right now on the right path to get you there? Maybe it's not. Let's switch it up. That is how I usually adapt. I think, oh, okay, what's the big picture? I tell myself, what's the big picture? Right now I'm helping you figure out your business taxes, but you're opening up a business that's going to impact the community. So at the end of the day, this is really going to help hundreds of thousands of people. Let's look at the big picture. What we got to do, tie it back into what we're working on. This is crazy. I know sometimes people are like, okay, what are you talking about? I had a student once come to me and said, oh, when I grow up, like when I get out of here, I just want to surf. And I laughed. I said, surf? I said, you want to surf? And I think I talk about this a lot because it blew my mind. I'm like, you want to be an artist in New York City. How are you going to surf? And I know I mentioned this before. I'm like, what's the big picture? I'm like, maybe what you want is to be an artist in like the California beaches. Figure out a gallery lifestyle there. That was synergy in that moment, and I know I feel like I've mentioned this before. We sometimes have this big picture, but the location's wrong. The timing's not right. So we have to look, okay, I'm not gonna do a Valentine's function in July. It's not gonna serve. The theme won't be stars and stripes during the winter holidays. You gotta kind of make everything balanced. I'm gonna give you guys a piece of advice. Sometimes I want to talk about the scope of business like I'm doing today and understanding the different perspectives. The perspective is the point of view here. The main theme, if you get anything from my rambling today, it is the perspective. It's not your perspective. It's your audience's perspective. So here's my passion of what I do, but what is perceived? She's a business person. I don't know. Sometimes what comes out of what's perceived for me is, I'm going to ask her because I think she knows. People always come to me, whether or not they really know me. And they're like, I know you know this. What's this? I'm like, oh, that's that. Oh, okay. That's usually what happens. So I carry a wealth of knowledge. Sometimes it's hard to tie down who I am, right? That's the perspective. But we need to understand why is their perspective. Now, the other day, I made a post about Father's Day. Father's Day is not even here yet, right? But it's coming up. And the funny thing is why I made this post. Every year, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, I'm right. And I'm going to say something before I tell you my every year point. I'm usually 99.99999% correct with everything I say. I'm going to tell you why. I will not say something if I know it's not a bona fide fact. If I'm not sure about it, I'm not going to say it. So therefore, I cannot be wrong, especially if I'm being recorded on an email, in a voice, in a chat, in a meeting. I will only say what I know is accurate. Okay. So back to what I was just about to say. Every year in May, we know Mother's Day is coming. Every mother on this earth knows it's Mother's Day, especially for where we celebrate Mother's Day hard. Now, in different places, Mother's Day is celebrated on different days, granted. But in these parts, it's May. So what happens is, Mom, usually, oh, Mother's Day is coming if you forget about me. That type of energy, right? But the thing is, Father's Day is right after Mother's Day. But what kind of happens is the kids don't realize Father's Day is coming. Or they're not as in tune as to when Mother's Day is coming. Because when Mother's Day is coming, I'm a mother. That's my holiday, okay? Oh, y'all fixing to do this right now? You know this Sunday is Mother's Day? You know what I'm saying? I put the guilt, right? I do. Did you like that? Sometimes I switch up. I have my professional voice, and then I have my Fannytasticlife voice. So, but on Father's Day, fathers are like, what do you really want to do on Father's Day? Barbecue? Now you gotta work. You want to go over here to the beach on Father's Day? That's really serving the mom, right? So 9 out of 10, a father just wants to chill. It's his day to relax. But we do so many things that possibly they don't want to do. The other thing is, I have a friend and she's like, oh, on Father's Day, I'm going to do this, and that. And so she completely separates herself and is like, that's your day to watch your kids kind of energy. And I laugh about these things. I mentioned Father's Day because I value my husband, and that's my son's amazing dad. I have 4 children with him. We've been married a long time. And he is the foundation of how we live. The last 22 years, he takes care of everything. And from our hearts to our souls to our overall well-being. And he doesn't ever do anything out of spite, out of anger. He does everything with love. If he knows you have an allergy to bananas, he will make sure that anything he prepares, there's no bananas nearby. Even if he loves bananas, just an example. He makes sure that you are always well taken care of, that you're prepared for what you need. He's just that way. So the reason why I bring this up is because I always see the kids running around trying to figure it out. This is the truth. And so I said, I see my kids, they care a lot about their parents. They care a lot. And they care a lot about what their parents think of them. Sometimes, you'll see me with my children, I might say I feel like they have attitude or something like that. But they really are very good, well-balanced kids. And I make this point because I need the perspective to be tied into what's going on. When we look at business in its totality, we sometimes forget to gear ourselves to what's trending, what's marketable, what is right now on season, and what is supply and demand. How is that going to impact our business? It doesn't matter what your business is. Your business could be a library. Your business could be mortuary. Your business can be a taxation place. Your business could be any type of business, a doctor's office, a dentist, a pet store. You have to look at the full spectrum of the perspective. Your perspective is your clientele. Your clientele is your demand. You, in fact, hold the supply in the equation. So if there is no demand for what you are doing, you're going to have a failed business. How do I tap into my demand? It's looking at the demographics and looking at your perspectives. What are my perspectives? My perspectives are who's in my area, who do I serve, what's the population that tends to come here, what do they need? These are the questions. And when you move from big to small, from small to big, from different transitions, who am I really serving? Who is this bigger population? Who is this smaller population? What do I need to know? Am I culturally sensitive? Am I aligned to their visions? Do I understand their languages, their norms, their values? How am I driving that in? This is really the overall power of your business, okay? This is why it's so important to me. The other day when I was walking with my son and he mentioned that comment, I said, wow, yes. When I realized also at the same time I had a global market, I always knew I had people listening in different countries, but over 26 countries. I had to say, you know what? I got to dive into things. I got to look at things a little bit different. I got to look at the forest as a full scope instead of just looking at this tree. Because the tree already served me. I need to serve everyone. I hope this kind of makes sense. This is kind of like a lot of information, but I hope you're able to drive the point. In the blog, you'll see a related content or newsletter tied to this podcast. It gives more of an illustration for our visual listeners. I thank you all so much, and thank you for listening to me on this journey.